Welcome to Pastor's Chat today. Well, we've been talking about Luke chapter 21, verses 8 through 19. Here in this passage, Jesus is given his great prophecy concerning future events to his disciples from the Mount of Olives as they overlook the city of Jerusalem. And there he's answering their question, what will the signs be of the end of the age? When will that happen? And here Jesus gives a description of what we've already talked about is the Great Tribulation period. The 7 years in between the time of the church and the rapture of the church, and of course the millennial reign of Jesus Christ on heaven. So remember, this is a Jewish prophecy, basically based for the Jewish nation, and there are applications we can make from it for the church today as we see these events and these signs intensify. That simply means it's getting closer. We read in the book of Timothy, and as you see these things approaching, he says, you'll see in the last days perilous times will come. Men will be lovers of their own selves, blasphemers. And so definitely there are some indications that we're getting close to the end of the age. And yet we know that what the second coming of Christ is of course when he comes back to earth. It's in two stages. The first stage is when he comes back in the air to rapture the church. The second stage, when he comes and sets his feet down on the Mount of Olives and sets up his kingdom. And before that is a 7-year tribulation. And that is the description that we read here in Luke 21, 8 through 19. And so Jesus is saying during that age, he said to them, take heed that you do not be deceived. Don't be deceived. For many will come in my name, saying, I am he. The time has drawn near. Therefore, do not go after them. So first thing, false teachers, false prophets, false messiahs will come and claim to be Jesus, claim to be the Messiah. Boy, already, now we don't see it so much maybe here in America, but if you even go to Israel, there are signs on the back of buses, on the billboards, and these people are claiming the Messiah is almost here, and they have a rabbi who is going to be that Messiah. And then in verse 9, but when you hear of wars and commotions, don't be terrified. So listen, it says don't be deceived, don't be terrified, for these things must come to pass first, but the end will not come immediately. And so there will be definitely these wars and everything happening, and that's already happening, but it'll come in greater intensity there in the first part of the tribulation period. And that's why the Antichrist, the man of peace, will come and be able to bring peace because of all these things happening at that time. And then he said to them, nation will rise against nation, kingdom against kingdom. And so there's national chaos going on with the nations. But then in verse 11, and there will be great earthquakes in various places, and famines and pestilences, and there will be fearful sights and great signs from heaven. And so we see it'll be a time when not only things will take place on earth with pestilence and earthquakes, and that's going to be in the tribulation. Read the book of Revelation. There'll be, it says, signs in heaven. There'll be things happening that, as you read in Revelation, that'll actually say, hey, listen, it's getting closer. It's getting closer. The 7 years will come to an end. And then he says in verse 12, but before all these things, they'll lay hands on you and persecute you, delivering you up to the synagogues and prisons, and you'll be brought before kings and rulers for my name's sake. But turn it out for you as an occasion for testimony, and therefore settle it in your hearts, not to meditate beforehand on what you will answer. For I'll give you a mouth and wisdom, which all your adversaries will not be able to contradict or resist. And so then he says, basically, you will be persecuted. It'll be a time of tremendous persecution. Jesus talked about when the abomination of desolation takes place. He says, then I'm telling you, they're going to have to flee to the mountains. That's when the Antichrist breaks his peace treaty with Israel and he persecutes them. And so he says, you will be given mouths to speak as you're hauled before the courts, as you're hauled before the Antichrist and before the kings and the people he set up to rule with him. And so he's warning them, listen, I am going to give you an occasion to be a great witness. I believe thousands and millions of people are going to come to know Jesus Christ during the tribulation period. Millions will turn to him. Then they'll be persecuted, of course, for their faith. So these things, Jesus said, is a description of what it'll be like in the tribulation period, especially for the Jewish nation. Well, God bless you as you think on these things, and remember the application is to us. God gives us the words to speak when we are even now in this age persecuted through the Holy Spirit, giving us the thoughts of God through His Word. God bless you, and you have a wonderful, wonderful day.